Alright. We've got this Manticore and this Deus 2 acres. A little windier than I would like, but I'm going to try to do this. This camera may not pick the wind up so bad. Okay. Small piece of iron I showed in a previous video, or a piece of ferrous. Okay. I'm going to remove it from that block of wood. I've got the Manticore here with the latest version in it. This is the 14th of September 2023. Horseshoe is in. General program. You see no presentation on that screen. No signal. Okay. Now you see the orientation of that iron or ferrous. Horseshoe in. Clearly hear that Manticore. Horseshoe out. No signal. All terrain fast. Horseshoe out. No signal. Horseshoe in. We get ID with a red line under it. An iron tone. All terrain low conductors. Horseshoe in. Horseshoe out. No signal. No audio. And no ID. Okay, I'll match the horseshoe again so you can see it. Okay. All-terrain high conductors, horseshoe in. You can hear that probably in that camera. Horseshoe out. No signal. Of course, there's a fade rate on that ID there. Okay. So there's no real surprises there with a Manticore. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera off and we're going to fire up this Deus 2 with version 2.00 in it. Alright, we got the Deus 2 version 2.00 in this detector. Now we're not going to look at all the modes on this detector, okay. But I do need to probably share some things with you. Some people might not be aware of this, okay? Sensitive FT. Now remember now, that's full tones defaulted. I believe the silencer's at 3. I have maxed the volume on this detector and also maxed the iron tone. You get to clearly hear the iron tone in sensitive FT. Now that's a 6.8 disc. See that? Okay, fast program, 6.8 disc, okay. Now I turn the reactivity to 2, that's unimportant. Audio response is max. Hear anything? El Zippo, iron volume is maxed, nothing. Notice that, nothing. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the tones. That was pitch tones you just heard. We're changing to full tones. That's all I did. What happens? Look at that. We get to hear the iron tone in full tones. Only full tones. I will even change the tones on this machine. There's 3 tones. No cigar. Iron tone is on this machine. Remember that. No iron tone. So, I'll go back right quick. Okay. Pitch tone, 6.8 disc. No cigar. Which means you cannot take the Deus 2, running multi-frequency, and we'll get into the single frequency here in just a moment. You cannot judge iron density with this machine unless you're running full tones. That makes sense? Now, that could be a masker in an open field relicant. For example, running pitch tones in fast, you would never hear that. So you would never know to maybe either re-sweep, slow to sweep, speed the sweep, adjust the call height slightly, or rotate. Unlike sensitive FT, or running fast in full tones. Okay, so now we're going to go back here, and we're going to go back to sensitive FT. Let's just go back there. Okay, so now it's got full tones in it. You see it there, okay? Silencer's at 3. We're going to notch, because this is interesting. Some people might not realize this. I'm going to take the notch all the way out of this machine. Notice what it says in the window there. Off. Okay? Iron volume is max. You hear that? Sounds good, don't it? Now we're going back in here to notch. Now, all I'm going to do is, see that in the window right there? Look at there. 0, 0 through 0, 0. So it's not off like that. It's 0. Listen what happens. That iron is gone. All right? Now, what happens if I disc up from 0, or notch up? I'm sorry, notch up from 0. Okay, so I'm at 0. We don't get anything. Okay, so I'm going to start notching up. Nothing. Okay, you see it there, 0, 0 through 37 is not. So we're going to reduce it back. So now notch is back off. Listen. Iron tone. Now I'm just going to touch the key and put that 0, 0 through 0, 0 on the window. The iron is gone. Okay? So now I'm going back into the expert screen. Okay? Maybe this camera will focus. I'm going to advance this notch setting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see what it's doing. I'm going to go over to about 33 and I'm going to start backing this machine up. Look at that. We get it there. We're getting iron tone there. Now see where I'm at in the screen? I'm still backing it up. How about that? Look at there. But when I go to 0, notice there. See, there's 1. I stopped it short of 1. We get the iron tone. But when I back it to 0, it goes bye-bye. I'm at 1. I'm sweeping. Alright, now I'm going to advance it back to 0. 0, 0. No signal. Okay? So let's get out of here and let's go over here to mono program. Default mono program, but I will, since it's windy out here, I'll turn the sensitivity up a little. Leave the reactivity, the default setting. I'm going to jack up the audio response to max. Iron volume to max. Okay? Now, we are in 3 tones. No iron tone. Notice that. No iron tone. That's a 6.1 disc. Okay, so now we're going to change the tones. That was 3 tones. Here's pitch tones. No iron tone. Okay, so now we're going to go to full tones. So we get iron tone in full tones. Now, what I'm going to do next, and here's where it gets a little interesting. Notice notch is off. Now I'm going to go 0, 0 through 0, 0. We didn't hear that in multi-frequency, did we? Hear that? Is that what's in the screen? Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the expert screen and I'm going to just notch all the way from 0, 0 all the way over there. There's 38. We still get our iron tone. Okay. And then I'm going to start backing it up. Still get our iron tone. Okay, now we're at, there's number 1. Now we got signal here for iron tone in multi-frequency fast or sensitive FT. Now we're at 0 in the mono program. And we still get the iron tone. So there's a difference. Okay. Now, let's go back to sensitive FT. Or no, we'll go to fast program this time. Fast program. Now we're at 6.8 disc. Okay. And we're going to change the tone, we're going to leave it at, we're going to change the tones. We're going to change it to 3 tones. Okay. We don't have any notch in this machine. Notch is off. Okay. We don't hear any iron tone. Iron tone on this machine is currently maxed out. So you get to hear that 6.8 disc, no iron tone in the fast program. Now what I will do before we proceed any farther, we're going to hear silencer, 0 silencer. So we still don't get any iron tone with 0 silencer. I'm going to put it back to 2. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to disc. Okay, now we don't get any iron tone signal on that piece of ferrous there. Okay, now I'm going to reduce the disc all the way to 0. Bring it back up there, 0. Still no signal on that iron or that ferrous. Okay, now I'm going to start letting this disc down into the negative range. You see where we're at there? We still don't have a signal. Okay. So now we're shooting a broken signal at minus 3.6. There's minus 4. Pretty steady. Okay. So we'll get out of here. We're going to go back just for gee whiz. Mono program 6.1 disc. I'm going to change the tones to pitch tones. No iron tone, which we know that, okay? And we will start letting the disc down on this. Well, first we'll let it to 0. Let's just see what we hear. Nothing. Okay, so now we're going to start going into the negative range. I don't even get anything there all the way in the minus 6.4 range on that. Notice that. Now, well, let me go in here and double check. And we'll even let the size all the way 0. How about that? 17 kilohertz, and I can even change the frequency on this machine. There's 25. No signal on that ferrous, even at a minus 6.4 disc running. Pitch tones, we'll check it in 5 tones. Nothing. Check it over here, full tone. Full tones. We don't even get anything. Now that's interesting. Let me turn this camera off just a moment. Okay, camera back on. We're still in full tones, 25 kilohertz mono program. The disc is minus 6.1. Listen. Nothing. But I'm going to start raising it. We don't get anything if we go to minus 6.4. I'm going to start raising the disc. So I get up to about minus 2.6. Alright, I get some iron tone, but any lower I don't get anything. Okay, and we're gonna, while I'm standing here, we're gonna go back. There's 0.5. We're going up. And here's default setting 6.1, and we will even advance it higher. There's 8.4. Okay, so some of this is gee whiz with a Deus 2, and some of this may can help you, okay? So that's going to conclude this video, but I do need to make a comment here. So you can tell when you're running multi-frequency, the notch There's a difference in operation of this detector between notch off and that right there. And I don't know if this has any bearing on why XP changed the menu in 2.00 in the go field. The notch now has the word off in the window. That may be why they changed it. I've not compared that part with version 1.00 or 1.10. So that's going to conclude this video. Now, the next test we're going to do is we're going to compare these two machines. That iron you see in the SD card holder, that's a 4x4 block, but it may not be 4 inches. There's going to be a dime sitting on that, a clad dime, and we're going to see how these two machines behave, okay? And if this window laid down, we're going back here in the field where I've got I think a dime buried. I hope you enjoyed.